How we doing today, everybody? Looks like we are live now with the next episode of Count the Bucket, and of course, beside me, my lovely co-host CJ here. Thank you for joining again. As always, so grateful for you to be on the show anytime. Always coming with some facts and some truth, especially about the Knicks and just everything else. But love your take on the Knicks as more than anything, probably. But you been doing all right today?
Hey, all is well, Michael. How you doing, man? Glad to be back on another episode.
Good, good. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. Today's been a little busy for myself. Last night didn't get in bed until probably 12:30. I don't know why. I just couldn't go to sleep. It was a long night. I'm ADHD. I just tell you about everything. So got up at 4 o'clock this morning to be at work at 5 a.m. Worked our freight truck, so it's our busy day at work. Done all that, got home at 2:30, I think it was, and then my wife and I, we took our kids to the next county over from, you're probably not familiar with stuff like that. Like, to go to a Kroger, we have to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get to one, just because it's not one close. So we went there, did all of our grocery shopping, tried to buy in a big bulk, and then just literally walked in the door probably less than 30 minutes ago and got everything set up. So as soon as we get off the show here, this guy's going to bed for a while.
I don't blame you, man. That definitely sounds like a long day, for sure.
Yes. And I'm just killed out. 35, almost 36 next month, less than a month away. Daddy can't hold like that anymore. Just can't do it. Can you tell a difference? How old are you now?
I'm 27.
27. When do you think that mark of age that you're like, okay, I'm not young or I don't recover as much? Because me was probably 24.
Yeah, right now I still feel good. I've had some like injuries and stuff like that, but
Right.
in terms of like feeling like, kind of lethargic when when your mind is telling you something different, but your body is telling you something completely separate from how your mind feels. Maybe like 30s, it'll probably hit me.
Well, yeah, 30 definitely on that part. But like when I turned 24, like I don't know, after playing pickup basketball, I'm like, okay, let's go out of town or something, do something crazy. And I'm like, I might need a couple hours just to recuperate a little bit. There's that recovery time that I wasn't really ready for. And all of a sudden, it just hit me like a brick wall. I was like, okay, like I'm getting old. I'm 24 now, and then at 25, it really started sinking in. Like, okay, I really gotta. I've never been a man who likes to stretch before any kind of games or anything. Like, basketball, we'd always have to stretch before practice and stuff, as a team. But like pick up or whatever, I would never stretch. Just never did it. But once I got 25, I was like, okay, I might have to worry about that just a tad bit more because I'm starting to feel the tightness. And
yeah, that's stretching. Stretching is essential, man. It feels great too. Like it's really it's underrated.
My favorite stretch was after do your whole back, laying down the butterfly stretch was just laying down and stretching like you're in the bed. That was my favorite. I don't know why. Just like, okay, I'm ready to go now.
Yeah, it's the most comfortable. You feel like you're right in the bed, like you said. So
I guess It's just getting all the oxygen to your brain. You're ready to go now.
Exactly.
So I'm watching right here, and I want to talk to you about madness. Purdue's on like a big run right now. Texas hasn't scored a basket in almost 10 minutes or 9 minutes now. It's 14-26. Are we excited about March Madness? Have we been surprised what's going on? Have we made a bracket? Did you make any brackets whatsoever?
No, I didn't make a bracket this year, but I already know if I were to make one, it would have been destroyed by now. With, a few upsets that have come along. I think St. Peter's.
Well, we didn't have to drop that one first. Like, I mean, we could.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry about that.
But as you guys know, I'm a Kentucky boy. I live in Kentucky, and he just dropped the peacocks right at first here, just the upsets. But I'll tell you this, I haven't picked Kentucky to win the championship on my brackets in probably a good 5 to 10 years. I just want to be real with it. Like, I feel like every time I used to do it as a kid, never happened. So I'm like, okay, I'm never going to do it again. Just kind of be realistic with it. I had them going out, I want to say either Sweet 16 or Grade 8. I'm not for sure what it was, but my bracket is just destroyed.
Yeah, same, man. Exactly. If I was to make one, it would have been done. But I love March Madness, so that we don't talk about St. Peter's.
It's like don't talk about Bruno now. And didn't they win the second round as well? So they're going to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least the team that beat Kentucky is moving on. So I mean, that makes it look them a little bit better.
Yeah, it does.
they only have 3,000 kids or students. I'll say not kids, but they 3,000 students. There's a picture going around on at least my Twitter of a picture of Rupp Arena and the 25,000 actually 23,000 that actually can stay in the arena. And then it showed a little picture. I say a picture of their gym. Like, there is a huge difference between the two schools, but it breaks my heart that it was Kentucky. But at the same time, that's what makes March Madness so much fun. Am I right? Like, we always fill out our brackets, well, except for you this year, but the underdogs are always so much fun to watch. The, what was it? Loyola of Chicago or something like that a couple years ago.
I think Gulf Coast,
Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, a few years ago
Duncan
too.
Squad.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. It's just for this. That's what makes the tournament so exciting. Like you said, these schools that that aren't really nationally televised, they come in with momentum, with nothing to lose attitude, and it doesn't matter. What's up, Perry? How you doing, brother? It doesn't matter, who's in front of them. They're out there to try to get the dub, especially when you're going up against when they're a lower seed and you're going up against these higher seeds, and everyone's expecting that higher seed to get the dub, and they're just playing with house money. They're just having fun. They're with their guys, just traveling.
Nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nothing to lose, and it's it's the beauty of March Madness, man. It's definitely an exciting time, and we're seeing it right now with St. Peter's this year.
Mm-hmm. And that's like, I can't say Peters of all the upsets. You're going back to but what I think is crazy.
Michigan too,
yeah. What I think is kind of, or at least I think is a problem with, I won't say problem, that's or a puzzle that goes in with this is like for Kentucky, for example, we're a lot of one and dones or succeed and proceed. What do you like to try to? Calipari used to try to name it to not make it sound so negative, the one and dones. But like a lot of the other colleges, even Duke and some other Kansas, Arizona, a lot of the other colleges have went to the one and dones since Calipari has changed that. And I feel like when it gets tournament time, some of these smaller schools like the St. Peter's and other places like that, these guys get veterans, they get senior leadership. And then it's kind of hard when some of these younger players get to be the 4-year or the senior, and then these freshmen have never seen anything like this. I kind of feel like when it comes tournament time, that's why a lot of the freshman dominant teams don't win the championship. Do you think that is a thing, or am I out of left field? Because I feel like that's going to always be a problem. That's why almost championships don't mean nothing. Well, I don't want to say that too strong, but championships is not the only end goal for Kentucky, for me anyways. Like SEC championship would be nice as well, even though congratulations to Tennessee on that. But just seeing these guys play, and Oscar, absolutely love him. I don't know if you've kept up with this story at all, but just him as a person, a human being, and everything he stands for, plus what he's done on the court. I mean, he's a phenomenal guy. Hope he comes back. Wasn't he a junior? I think he was a junior, right?
A junior, yeah.
I would love for him to come back. But when you win Player of the Year, or at least SEC Player of the Year, still
your stock is right there.
You can't go anymore.
Right, yeah.
But I'm going to pause it right there and let you respond to the freshmen versus senior smaller schools, what you think on that. And then I'm going to jump back to that junior stuff there with Oscar, if you don't care.
Yeah, 100%. You're right, because they're older guys. They've been through this type of journey. Even if it's not at the tournament level, it's some type of tournament level where they're older, they're much more mature. Guys can lean on them. The coaches can lean on them as well. On the court, they already know what to do. They know the system. And unless you have a special guy like we saw, about a decade ago with AD and what he did with Kentucky, back in the day, it's going to be tough to come out, and win a national championship with these one and done guys. Even you got Zion, RJ, Reddish. Those are three guys that went in the top 10. And they came up short. So, it's
nobody ever talked about Coach K flopping or having a unsuccessful season with that either. But throwing that out there, sorry, had to throw some shade. Keep going.
No, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I think it was everybody was just so caught up on, the Zion hype, and it's Duke, right? So it's it's people have different narratives for the schools, but yeah,
everyone's already calling for Coach Cal to be fired. I'm like, it was a fluke. Yes, we have not played well as of lately. 2020, I think, I'm not going to say our year to win it, but COVID happened, and that was probably one of our better teams. This team was just everyone fell in love with this team as a personality. But AD, and I'm sorry to interrupt you there. AD's
No.
year, we had Michael Kidd Gilchrist as well, number 1 and number 2, I think it was. So 2 good, solid players. But one player that gets underlooked, I think, that I just kind of remember was we had a senior player that was from Kentucky in Miller. I can't even remember his first name. But
Darius Miller?
Darius Miller.
Yep.
He was a senior,
Sniper.
and he actually, and he had a 2 or 3 dribble into the paint, jump shot straight up, looked pure, and I mean it was money. And we needed that go-to veteran guy that would say, hey, I've got the control over my body. I've got some age. I've got some size on me. I can get the contact, get them away from me, and hit this every time whenever we need it. And I don't know why I feel like the freshman group can't figure that part out. Like a lot of times you'll see these senior players come in and just say, okay, I'm 5 feet away. I'm going to pull up and hit this. Like that is the most common shot I think is made in a championship team, but only happens in veterans.
Yeah, I agree. They're putting the work in. I mean, like you said, they've been in the gyms, they've been in the facilities for hours, for many more hours than these freshman players.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely going to play a factor. Again, like if you don't have that, truly special guy, and you got to have some luck too. I mean, you could have one of these great guys. Like we just talked about with Duke had Zion and RJ, and it still didn't work out. So you got to have a lot of luck. Has to factor in when you're going into these tournament style play. So. It's a factor, and you're right. You're absolutely right about the experience from the upperclassmen.
Well, I'll say quick question. Who do you think has the best chance, or who do you think could win it right now? That's left.
No, I'm gonna go with Michigan, man. I'm gonna go with Michigan. Yeah, I mean, I think they're really inspired by what happened with Juwan Howard a few weeks ago and everything that trained. Even though that was his wrongdoing, but I think that team is probably rallying around him. You're starting to see them really play well in the tournament style. I think a few years ago they played well. Also, I think they went to the Elite Eight, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a really good coach. He's a really good coach. He gets the best out of his guys, and I think they're riding high right now. I'm gonna go with them. I think Duke just had a really close win against Michigan State. I think for them it's just their shooting. Their shooting is a little choppy at times. I think that's why they struggled in the ACC tournament game and also against North Carolina too in Coach K's last game. So if the shooting is not down for them, they could struggle and that offense could get a little stagnant. But I'm a roll with Michigan. I think they're high on momentum. I think they could get it done.
I'm going with, and it's who I actually picked in my bracket that I still have that's like gutted, but UCLA. I really like UCLA. I feel like it's
I like them too.
A good team. Jazang, I think is his name. Did I say it right?
Yeah, Johnny Juzang. Yep.
Came from Kentucky, that transfer. So I'm kind of biased a little bit there. Wish we could have had him because it'd be great for our team right now. But so I really like just even from day one, I thought UCLA was ahead of everyone else, and then they beginning of the season kind of flopped out a little bit, or I had some bad games, I'll say. But I feel like just right time, February, they start turning it back on, and I'm hoping that they win it because that's who I picked.
Yeah, they had a close game. Last year, I think that Jalen Suggs hit the game winner.
Mm-hmm.
It was extremely close, and it definitely could have felt like that was their year for sure. So I'm sure they're just as motivated as well. To try to get it done. I thought Juzang was going to come out last year out the draft, but if he continues to play well in this tournament, it's just going to continue to raise his stock into the draft going into this summer.
Okay, let's see here. I've got mine finally pulled up here. My final four, I had Duke, UCLA, Arizona, and Iowa. Iowa's hurt, but the other three are still in it, so that's good. But then I got UCLA against Iowa with UCLA winning it. So, I mean, yeah, that's not good at all. So where did I have Kentucky losing? I had UCLA beating Kentucky, which would be funny if that would match up with Juzang there against his old team. But anyways, so let me ask you this, because Kentucky boy would love to have Oscar back. As a junior, we're talking about his stock so high, you can't really do much to improve. Only thing really he could do is probably decline, just because double team will come along, injury and that whole 9 yards. But there's a different factor now. We have the NIL. Do you think that this is going to be a thing that could cause some of these players? Because I don't know if you watched any of the Kentucky game, but after it was over, went through the locker room, he was almost, I mean, he covered his face the whole time. He was so emotional, I'll say it that way at least, that it hurt him bad, and you could tell. So do you think that these younger guys now can be like, hey, I want that championship, even though I can go on to get the money like I always do, but now since the NIL, I can actually promote myself and get a degree? Do you think this could be a new era on that, or is it still, because I still don't know how the NIL all works out, but I will say this from our Kentucky football stance. I want to say Robinson, I think, is our wide receiver that was want to go pro. They were saying he was projected around third round, and they were saying guaranteed money for a third round is almost 1.5 to $3 million is that area. And they were saying that he could actually, with his NIL, projected make about 12 or 1.2 million in just NIL at Kentucky. So they're saying there's a chance that he could come back because he could make over $1 million at Kentucky just with the great fan base that we have. So I'm thinking, I don't know what the limit, or is there a limit that they can make? I don't know the details on the NIL. So I just think it's interesting. Do you think that this could be something that could change these players to stay? Because that Green talks a lot.
Yeah, it does. I think it's really going to depend on on the type of player. Again, for sure. I mean, there are some situations where the money, you will be making more in college, especially like some of these big programs like Kentucky, from a football standpoint, Kentucky, Alabama, things like that. They generate so much money annually. It's fairly easy to keep those guys, but at the end of the day, their dream is to go to the league. And for Oscar's standpoint from Kentucky, I mean, like you said, his stock is really high right now. I'm pretty sure he wants to go to the NBA. I mean, that's your dream. That's your dream, is to go to the league. You put the work in college, high school, AAU, things like that, to try to make it to the NBA. So I think he should capitalize on this moment. You need to capitalize on the situation right now and do everything possible to try to get to the NBA, man, because I know. Selfishly, you want him to do
selfishly. Ouch, that hurt.
No, but I understand. The fans. They want to keep him there. He's a great player. Had a phenomenal season this year. But if I were him, I'm going to the league, man. Like I said, the stock is extremely high, and you just don't know. I mean, yeah, you're in college, and you could those things are a factor. You could go back to the championship. You could go back to the tournament, try to make a run at it, but. Who knows? Who knows what happens? Maybe you don't have the same type of year that you had this year, and then your stock decreases, and then you lose out on different type of endorsements and cash and things like that. So, if I'm someone around him, I'm like, yeah, of course, you're going to be upset that you lost. You put it, you're with your teammates, your coaches, but I think once cooler heads prevail, I think he'll probably look at his future and think the right move is going to the NBA.
The only thing that's different with me for him. Sorry, I'm asking.
Corey, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
If she could sneak a water in there for me. But my only problem with him is, and I hate to say problem again, is I feel like his ceiling in the NBA is almost limited to a little bit. Oscar's is. For Corey, for just doing it, in case you didn't hear who we were talking about. Oscar for Kentucky. Because, I mean, he's very quick. Some of the post moves, I didn't even see how he did them. Like, I mean, he'd felt the guy on him and he'd just turn the shoulders and they'd slip off and then he would just take off and lay it in. I'm like, wow, that speed's great. And his hands are phenomenal. They look huge. And if his two fingers are touching the ball, he's coming down with the rebound. But in today's era, I want to say he's like 6'8", maybe 6'9". So he's still a little bit shorter for, well, he's Draymond Green size. When I think of him, I'm thinking of a Draymond Green type player or even a Paul Millsap, Mr. Rebound and putbacks.
Yeah, those are good players. Those
great players.
That's a long career. But, I mean, yeah.
Right. But do you think that he's going to be a star on any team possibly? Or is he just going to be role playing or a player? I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful because I absolutely love the man.
No,
because I'm just saying that may keep him, hey, let me try to work on my outside game, because he's not really tall enough, I think, to play a 5 in the NBA solidly, if that's even a word. But if he could work this next year on a 18 to 25 foot jump shot, which he was hitting 15 to 18 feet, okay, 34% or so like that. So if he could develop a little bit more of a game, then he could run a floor, because he's quick too. He outran a lot of the 5s down the court on our fast-paced offense, and I could see him capitalizing big time on that in the NBA. And I'll quit interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. I think he can. I think he can. Just has to work on his game. It's probably better for him to go to the NBA with the NBA trainers that can help him with certain things he needs to improve on. Will he be? It's really going to depend on the situation, the team he's drafted to. I mean, I don't think a lot of people thought Draymond would be the type of player that he is today. A lot of things had to go right for Draymond and the Warriors. I mean, you got the emergence of Clay and Steph,
right,
and then his ability to show how great he was as an all-around aspect, really helped his popularity and his status as a player. So it's gonna come down to where he goes. Is the coach gonna believe in him? Going to give him the type of opportunities? Of course, he has to earn it as well. But we've seen a lot of situations where we saw players, they may earn it and they may, look like they're playing well, but they just don't have that mesh with the coach. And that could hinder their, early start to their career. We've seen that in all sports. So I think situation is going to matter for him for sure. But I mean, if he puts that work in, I mean, especially he's going to have to work on his outside shot 100%. He's going to have to, regardless whether he's 6'8", 6'9", he's going to have to learn how to defend 1 through 5 because, teams are want to do, they're going to want to switch and put a point guard on you and try to, create a mismatch. So he's going to have to be able to stay low, stay down, slide his feet, and then, hope he gets some help on the back end, or in terms of reaching and things like that for other guards around him to try to disrupt whoever he's guarding. So it's gonna take some time, but I mean, it's just gonna come down to his work ethic. How much does he want it, and if he does, I think he's gonna have a really good career.
And I think the work ethic is definitely there for him. Just even what little bit I've got to hear and talk from, or hear him say, he's does not care to grind at all and push people, and even do a lot of community outreaches as well. So that's awesome. I love the guy. I hope he has a prolonged career as long as LeBron James, and better than LeBron. But speaking of LeBron, let's go ahead and get this out of the way because I don't really like him. Congratulations to LeBron James. Comes the second all-time leading scorer. Correct? Is that right? The second all-time, not Laker or anything. Just passed. Who did he pass?
Karl Malone.
Karl Malone.
Yep.
And so he is number 2 in his stacked stats. I'm just being mean on that, guys. But I mean, really, I can't really badmouth him as much as I really like to act because the dude has been solid his whole career. I used to love him actually when he first came up because he was a pass first kind of guy, create and then kick to the open guy, and he'd make these phenomenal passes. And I used to like him then. I didn't like him when he went to Miami. I wanted him to stay home. So that's my hate came there. But I mean, he's the first guy to ever have 10,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 10,000 assists. So congratulations, huge milestone to him. Do you think he can get to the number 1 in points, and how long do you think it'll take him?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he stays healthy next year, he's going to break it.
You think next year?
Yeah, I think next year for sure. There's not enough games right now for him to get close to Kareem, but next year he stays healthy. I mean, he's been relatively healthy. I mean, he had a knee, had some knee soreness, knee swelling for certain parts of the season, but other than that, he stayed healthy. Top 3 in scoring this year. Obviously, they've struggled. I believe they're 29 and 41 right now. As a team, they're not great, but individually, he's had a great season. And congratulations as well. I mean, it just speaks to his longevity of greatness. I mean, from 2003 to 2022, it's just been right here at the top, and it just keeps going. It's no precipitous fall at all in his career. Even at this age, the amount of minutes he's logged, the amount of finals he's gone to consecutively, Olympics, things of that nature. So, I mean, to me, he's top 3, one of the greatest players. I've ever seen. I mean,
okay.
Listen. I'm 27. I'm 27, so I didn't really get to see Jordan like that. I still obviously Jordan's still in my top 3 just off being a historian, learning about the game. But I mean, I've seen LeBron's entire career. I'm not a super LeBron fan, but I do appreciate his greatness and everything he's done in his entire career. To me, he's one of the greatest players I've ever seen. And just reaching this milestone is just a testament to that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I have to be honest. He's a phenomenal player. He is top 15.
Top 15.
One player that I think I'm in awe when I see his highlights, at least, and I didn't get to see too much. Like, I honestly, as a kid, I don't remember him playing at all. Is Dr. J. Like, seeing some of his reversals that he did, and like his whole body was under the goal and somehow turned it around. Like,
man, yeah, dude was phenomenal, man. I mean,
he really was. Like, I don't think he got enough credit for his athletic ability and everything he did. Like,
yeah, he was ahead of his time. He was ahead of his time for sure.
He really was.
Even growing up, hearing old people talk about him when he used to play at the Rucker and the ABA back in Harlem, and the numbers he used to put up. You let an old head ask you, like in his 60s or something like that, he'll tell you that Dr. J is. Some will say Dr. J is better than Jordan. A lot of people feel that way.
I mean,
because they're just that era.
I mean, I hate to say it, but like some of the highlights of just seeing the maneuvers that he did. I mean, like, seriously, he would palm that ball and like all the way out and reach and somehow come back in. I'm like, my goodness, as Dustin on here says, there's so many top 5 arguments of all times. I mean, Michael Jordan's number 1. Let's just be honest. But you know what? There's never going to be a right top 5.
Never.
Right now, who would you say is your top 5? And I'm not going to be mad at you when you say LeBron 3.
Nah, listen, I got Jordan 1 still. I got LeBron 2. Just because, again, like, I mean, 19 years of just dominance, man. I mean, it's just. I
mean, you can't deny it.
It was like what 10? It was the 8 straight finals, in a row. I mean, that's last person we saw do that was Bill Russell.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it was like back in the 60s. He's doing this in the modern era. To me, a lot of people may disagree, but I have Kobe up there as well. Another player that one of the reasons why I love the game of basketball is because of Kobe and Shaq. I was like 6, 7 years old when they were winning the championships with the Lakers. Absolutely. So, watching those guys is why I fell in love with the game. And Kobe's up there for me. I mean, I know he doesn't have the regular season MVPs, but that's kind of a media, voted award, and he had some, situations throughout his career that, may be reasons why he didn't get as much. But, 5 championships, 2 without Shaq. Obviously people said he couldn't do it without Shaq. He won 2, went back-to-back, beat the Celtics, got over the hump after losing. In 2008, 3 straight finals during that time period as well. And, I feel like he, before he got hurt with the Achilles, he was still playing at an extremely high level. Oh, yeah. Who knows what would have happened if he were to stay healthy during that time. He probably would be maybe number 1 in scoring. I mean, he was 3 when he retired. He definitely, I feel like had he stayed healthy, he definitely would have passed Karl Malone. Or would he have passed Kareem? Oh, yeah. We'll see. But he was phenomenal to me, and he had everything. I didn't get to see Jordan, so people compared him to Jordan from a skill set standpoint, and that was the closest thing. And he was phenomenal to me. And then number 4, I got to go with Kareem. I mean, you could argue he's one of the best, basketball players. You go high school, college, NBA in terms of success. It's unmatched, especially what he did with John Wooden back in UCLA, winning 89 in a row, things like that. It's just absurd to think about. And then number 5, I got Magic in there. I got Magic at 5. Okay. Magic Johnson, yeah. That'd probably be my top 5.
What I think is funny, or at least interesting, you can ask anybody, and their top 5 is all going to be different. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, to me, MJ's number 1 just because of who he was as a kid. Space Jam is because of Michael Jordan. I don't care, LeBron. You're
Yeah,
trying to copy again.
Nobody considers when they say Space Jam, nobody considers LeBron. Come on.
It broke my heart because my son, okay, he's 5 years old and he has accidents when he's asleep in the bed still. And so I'm like, hey, listen, I'm ready for you to be out of these pull-ups because it's daddy's tired of buying these. I'm ready for you to just go to bed in your underwear. You go 5 days. Actually, I said 7 days. You go a week without having any accidents. You can get you a big bed because we had him in the toddler still. He was still fit in for it. And then he did it, got him his big old bunk bed. It's like a loft bed with a slide that comes down on it. He said, all right, Dad, I get to pick my sheets, right? I said, yeah. What does he pick? Space Jams 2. So I have a LeBron James in my son's bedroom, and it kills me. Oh, but it is what it is, right?
It's the generation, man.
The things we do for our children, right? So, but as far as I were to say a 5, and I have never really thought too much into it. I just feel like some people need to be mentioned that don't get mentioned, so I want to say them. Is of course Michael Jordan 1. I like Kobe in the list just because of what all he did by himself, but I actually want to go Kareem 2, LeBron 3. And then, how do you not put Wilt Chamberlain in there? He changed the game. So I always want to put Wilt. And then I actually always want to go with Big O, Oscar. Mr. Triple-Double.
Yeah, very underrated.
And that's it. Like, I feel like he's underrated. And that's why I want to always throw him in mind just to get the name out there more, I think. Because he was Mr. Triple-Double when everyone else was just doing a 1 or 2 highlight thing. Like, he was doing everything. And that's why they call him Mr. Triple-Double. Like,
Yeah.
We just now had his record broken last year by Westbrook, and now look at videos. But anyways, that's beside the point. So
a lot of people, feel like we don't. Back then he wasn't even really thinking that. Nobody was thinking about. Back in the '60s, no one's thinking about. I need one more rebound for a triple double. They was just trying to win the game. You know what I'm saying? They were just trying to do
whatever they could to win.
Exactly. No one's saying, give me, Kareem, give me the ball. I need, one more assist for a triple. No one was even thinking about that back then. So for him to get 180 something like that in his career, and I think probably got more. I don't even think it was counted early in his career when he first started.
I didn't think triple about doubles.
That. So
really,
it's probably even more than what we even know record wise. So. Yeah, he's definitely one of the most underrated guys in NBA history for sure. And he changed free agency as well. He was one of the big free agents back in the day. He caught a lot of flack for leaving the Cincinnati Royals, and going to the Bucks back in the day. So he's a pioneer for sure. A lot of people forget about Oscar Robertson, 100%.
Absolutely. I didn't even know he played for Cincinnati. Didn't even know Cincinnati had an NBA team until just now.
Yeah, man.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Random question here. I'm watching this college highlight and it's halftime right now, and I see Candace Parker is on. Could you give a WNBA top 5? Because do you keep up with WNBA pretty good?
Not like I used to. Growing
I know Nick really does.
Yeah, he does. He's always tweeting about the games. WNBA.
Candace Parker has to be in the top 5. I don't know if I could say 1 or anything, but just at least top 5. I don't know if I can number this list.
Yeah, she's definitely in my top 5. So I've got, no specific order, but I'm gonna say Lauren Jackson, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Candace Parker, and I'm gonna put Lisa Leslie in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that 4 or was that 5?
I got 5. That was 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Della Devant. I never can say that name right.
Della. Yeah, she's good. She's really good. She's really good. She needs some more time.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. She's still fresh, if that makes sense. She was out of sync a season, but and even
Maya Moore. She was really good. She was really good. She stepped. Yeah, she was really good. She was great. She stepped away from the game to work on social justice issues and things like that. Right. So, but she was excellent, man. But she did her first few years with the Minnesota Lynx.
Absolutely
unmatched there. She was a problem back in the day. Hell yeah.
All right, so let's see here. Let's get back to the NBA since we kind of are random here, but that's who I am. Let me pull up my burner phone here, as I like to call it. Pull this up. So I wanted to talk about the Timberwolves. Are they for real? Because they've been hot. And I just pulled up on NBA.com the Timberwolves record the past or in their division, they're 11-4. Man, it doesn't break down the last. Oh yeah, last 10 games they're 9-1 on a 4-game winning streak, and it doesn't go back farther than that. But they've been super hot. There's been a few other teams that are kind of been hot as well recently. Dallas, but they've lost a couple in a row here. But Minnesota has worked their way up to the 7th seed. The Clippers, even the Pelicans, and then it's the Lakers finish out to the 10th. Do we think Minnesota is coming on? Are we thinking these guys are contenders now? Because I'm loving Ant right now. Just even his flat out, his personality, his I don't really care what you think personality, and I'm absolutely just falling in love with this team. Do you think they're going to be good, or is this just a phase that we're going through right now where everything's clicking and they're hot at the right time?
No, I think they're going to be really good. I think Cat's really got it going. I think it's clicked for him now. He's 26 years old. He's starting to understand, like, yo, I need to be a dominant big man every single night. I need to oppose my will on these babies, these sinners, and start playing some defense as well. He's definitely an excellent outside shooter at his position. And Anthony Edwards, it's a big factor, 100%. I mean, him, he just brings a different type of mindset than what Wiggins did, back when it was Wiggins and Cat during the younger days. He has much more tenacity as a player early on, and I think that's helped them as well. And you got to give Ryan Finch, the head coach, a lot of credit also. They got rid of Saunders, Flip Saunders' son. That didn't really work out, and then they bring Finch in, and he's done a great job. Malik Beasley off the bench, it's kind of like their spark plug guy. Pat Beverly as well. You always need a Pat Bev. People clown on him, and
I can't stand him.
Exactly. People hate if he's not on your team, you can't stand him. What I'm saying?
But if he's on your team, you love him.
You love him, exactly. He's a pest, and he definitely tries to get in some of these top players' heads and get them off their game. And that's all you need, just for a couple possessions. You shift the mindset of some of these top guys. It can change the outcome of the game for sure. And his game, he learned his ability to knock down the three a little bit. He knew that's how he was going to stay on the court. He's going to have to work on his outside shot. He's a great player. D'Angelo Russell too. He's healthy. He has missed some time, and back when he was in Brooklyn, was an all-star. Led that team to the playoffs as a Brooklyn net, and then a couple seasons there. So I think they're really good. The championship, not yet, but I think if they keep that core together, add a couple more guys on the bench. Vanderbilt's pretty solid as well. Another young guy that they have. They continue to improve their roster with those core guys. Yeah, I think they're going to be really good for sure, because Ant's making progress every single year, and especially if they're going to get to the playoffs this year. Obviously, that's just experience, and they're just going to grow from that for years to come. So I like them as a team. They've done a great job. They're extremely underrated. It's Minnesota. It's a small market team, so they don't get the type of national coverage that like the Lakers, like the Nets, like the Heat, like some of these other teams that have been around and had some success over the last few seasons. But they're playing great basketball, and they definitely deserve credit. When you put this on the game plan, I was definitely hyped for it, because they deserve the love.
Oh yeah, I'd seen this. It was on Twitter, and I took a screenshot of it so I can tell you this. It's from StatMuse, and it says the Timberwolves have secured their second winning season since 2005. That's crazy. I just started my freshman year of college. This is the last year they had a winning season. But anyways, they are first in points per game, second in threes per game, third in blocks per game, fourth in steals per game, and eighth in points differential. And this is what I didn't realize until I actually was about to read this all to you, and I missed it. They have the best record since the All-Star break. I'm going to kind of switch shows here in my Backstop Banter All Baseball show. The team that was the hottest after the All-Star break was under 500, and it was the Atlanta Braves. If you kept up with anything in baseball, they won the World Series. Now, am I reaching here? Probably.
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, he goes even high pitch. Yeah, a little bit. But I'm loving the team. I mean, this is, I won't say Cinderella, but is this the Knicks of this year? I think so, but I don't think the Knicks, these Knicks, the Timberwolves are going to fade off. Like I think
Right.
this is
Solidified.
Yes.
Yes,
Man,
I got you, brother. I got you, man.
And I just think this team is really going to start. We're going to start going like Garnett who, Spreewell who, because this is the real Timberwolves team that I think that's going to be the more franchise of the team for the future now. Because, like you said, Cat's probably the oldest one on that team as far as the core, and he's 26 years old.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's got at least 4 solid good years unless some kind of random injury happens. And that's being lenient or thin there. 35, 36, these guys are still playing good.
For sure.
I mean, I'm saying at 30, he's still top peak, recovering and everything going great. Now, gets 33, 34, 35, resting every other game or something to that. Oh, like the back-to-back games, possibly sometime like that. But I think this is a great – and I love small market teams, so I'm all in on them. I don't want to put it like fix out a receipt or anything here where I'm putting it down that Timberwolves are going to make it to the finals or anything. But watch out for them. They're looking good.
Yeah, they look great, man. I mean, they could definitely upset. They're right there on the Nuggets' heels right now. The Nuggets have slipped a little bit. They could get that 6th spot. I think Utah's. I think Golden State is 3rd right now as it stands. So that's a pretty good series.
Yeah. Yeah, right now, Phoenix 1, Memphis 2 with let's see here. That's not it. Okay, Memphis is only a 1 game ahead of Golden State. Then Utah is 2.5 behind Golden State, and then Dallas is 2.5 or 2 behind Utah. Then you have Denver, which is 1 game behind Dallas. So Denver is only a half a game ahead of Minnesota. So, I mean, if they stay on this, do you think – let's play this. Where do you think Minnesota finishes in the rankings in the season? Not the playoffs, but just the rankings for the turn or for the playoffs.
I mean, yeah, they could get that 6th seed. I could see it.
I was going to say, I almost think they could get to that 5th seed because we still don't have Murray. We still don't have Michael Porter. So, right. I mean, they're going to be coming back in the playoffs. So, I mean, they're going to have to take some time to Miami just beat Auburn. Sorry. Oh, my wife just said she can't hear me on Colorcast.
Oh.
So let's do that. Wonder how long that's been going on. Hopefully it's not been going on this whole time. But let's see if we can pull it back up. Can't hear whoever was just talking on Colorcast. Oh, so it must have just went out for a second. So it might have lagged or something there.
Yeah, you're good now, yeah.
Okay, but don't know where I was going. Oh, Michael Porter Jr. is not there. We don't have Murray right there. So, I mean, the Joker can only carry so much. I still think he's MVP candidate. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but he's up there. Obviously, he's defending. But I see this Denver team could slip to the 6th spot, and Timberwolves could jump on up there. Now, I would like to dig a little bit more before I completely commit to it and see like what the strength of schedule, all that whole 9 yards. But I'm liking this team right now. I think they're in a good position. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, they are 100%. I mean, they're playing with house money. They have a lot of momentum. This is what you want to. This is what you want to play. This is how you want to play after the All-Star break. If you're a team, you want to win some games, win some close games, win some games where some people probably thought you weren't going to win, but you're confident in yourself and the people around you that you're going to get the W. And that's what they've been doing so far. And I like the trio that they have. I like their coach. Those numbers that you just stated from StatMuse is really telling. It's really telling of how well they've played. And you got to give those guys a lot of credit, man. And I like small market teams as well, even though I live in New York City. But seeing teams like Milwaukee, win a championship, Cleveland, went back when they had Cleveland now, even with the young guys that they have with Garland and Mobley, Phoenix as well. Absolutely, last year was like two small market teams in the finals. Memphis also. So it's great to see. It's great to see. And I think they're going to, as long as they keep those guys together, I think they're going to be successful.
Speaking of, well, let's kind of transition. I was trying to make it cool a little way. So another team, as far as on the East Coast that we talked about a couple of times ago, was the Bulls in this kind of situation. They were coming
Mm.
on. DeRozan was playing great. We thought MVP, and he's still playing good, still playing great. Let me back up and say at least that. But they've lost a few games here recent. Well, let's just say this: the Suns, who's my team, obviously, just kind of put a hurting on them yesterday. The Suns beat the Bulls by 27 points. Is this a proving that they aren't technically contenders for the finals, or is the West just this much better, or is this just one game?
No, it's not. It's not just one game. The Bulls are, I believe, 0-13 against winning teams this year in both
Okay.
conferences. So they've struggled all season against some really good teams, and it's a problem. It's a problem. Not only do they struggle defensively, and also I think they get out coached as well. Billy Donovan, I think he's a good coach. Is he a championship head coach? I'm not too sure. Watching him as a head coach back in OKC, I mean, he was the guy that they had a 3-1 lead on the 73-9 Warriors back then, and they blew that lead. In the
Doc
West.
Rivers?
Yeah, you see, I mean, it's like this is right here. Both of those guys have been folding lately. So he's to me he's not a championship head coach. They haven't had ball for a significant time. I think that's hurt them as well. He's their floor general. He changes the pace a little bit defensively. He could guard some of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Vucevic, not the greatest rim protector in terms of big men. He struggles in pick and roll defenses, and that's going to be a problem come playoff time, especially when rotations start to get tight. Patrick Williams is supposed to come back. I think he just got assigned for the G League team. So him coming back helps with some versatility defensively for that team. So I think they're gonna be all right. But they got to get those guys back. We're gonna see how they play, man. But I do think it is alarming how they do struggle against really good teams, and they do so well against these bad teams. But I think they just got ahead so early. It's really put themselves in a position to still be in that playoff contention. But Levine's great. DeRozan, he's playing excellent in the regular season, but people still have their questions about him in the playoffs over those years in Toronto and how he played against LeBron. So it's definitely a concern, and we'll see what happens. I think West. We know the West is great, but the East is great too. I think this is why to me is one of the best seasons we've had in a while. And when it comes to parity in both conferences, the East is phenomenal. I mean, look at this. I mean, you want to talk about? I think the Celtics are really like the Eastern Conference version of the Timberwolves. That's how you want to compare that. How well they've been playing after the All-Star break as well. So they're going to be formidable come April. And Milwaukee's the champs. Miami, they were there 2 years ago, so we know what they bring to the table collectively. So I think it's going to be a tough battle. Do they have the guys to get it done and win some series? I'll say yes. I mean, I do feel like you need at least two elite shot creators on your team come playoff time if you want to win a series. And I think no, go ahead. No, you're good.
Purdue just did a nice little bounce pass and dunk right there. Sorry.
And I think they do have those guys, but it's going to come down to those other guys as well to make some plays. And I do like the players they have on their team, but I'm just not too sure about Billy Donovan, how he schemes some things up. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play in the playoffs.
If Calipari was for some reason fired, Billy Donovan, I think, would be the front runner to come to Kentucky if the Bulls fall out. Because I want to say he used to be an assistant coach for Kentucky for a long time under Rick Pitino, or he played at Kentucky. He has some connection with Kentucky. So I miss him in college. I think he did a wonderful job with Florida. Won a championship with Joakim Noah, who I can't stand. But I think he's a good exit.
Right? Won 2 national titles, right?
Back-to-back it actually was, but I didn't want to give him that much credit. But okay. I'm pretty sure it was back-to-back, I think.
Yeah.
But Draymond gets ejected. I don't know what for, though. It just says, you be the judge, Draymond gets ejected. But I think he's a good X and O coach. I really liked in college. He used to set a very high pick and roll from almost like just inside the half court line, and your big man almost was on an island, or at least when they play Kentucky, because there's so much ground that they had to cover to guard a point guard, if you will. And I actually like that. You don't see that happen too much. I don't know if he'd go back to that if he came to college. Obviously, there's a lot of hypotheticals there. I'm going to ask you a quick question because, again, ADHD. I'm watching this college game. Have you watched many college games recently, like in this playoffs?
Not recently. You talk about Purdue. I'm praying the Knicks get Jaden Ivey somehow, some way. But not that much.
Have you at least watched one of the March Madness games? At least seen something of it?
Yeah.
Does the ball not seem more orange, or is it just me?
I haven't really noticed. I haven't really noticed it that much. I'll check it out. That next game, man, I'll definitely try to see.
Like the SEC, and of course we were playing Tennessee at the time. I'm like, man, this is just way too much orange, and it just kind of keeps going for me. I guess I'm like, just seems so much lighter right now instead of the darker brown orange. I don't know. Anyways, back to this. I feel like the Bulls maybe got an awakening with this game. I want to see how they respond to this, but I do think it's crazy. CCJ, this is the type of things you got to deal with when you have a co-host with Michael. I apologize. I think it makes it fun. But I think it's interesting to see what they're going to do after this. Who even lives in Kentucky anyways? Thanks, Connie. I appreciate that. But the East, I was looking at as you were talking about the rankings. Miami obviously is in first, and then you got Philly and Milwaukee tied for second. They have second and third, but they're both 3 games back. So then if you look on down to the 8th spot is 10 games out of first. But every team in between there is just like 1, 2, 3, or 4 games out. So like to the 6th spot is only 6 games out of first. So it's actually pretty tight. That's Cleveland, by the way. That's just crazy that they're so high up. I love it. But Chicago has fallen off quite a bit. They were up, I think, tied for first when we last talked about them maybe 3 weeks ago or so. They're down to the 5th place, but that's how tight of a race this is. Like they're 5.5 out of first place still. So maybe they will take the punch in the mouth and turn it around and say, okay, we know we got to get better. We thought we were good. Now that we've seen the Suns, because I've heard many times when the Suns are playing the Golden State, they talk about the work ethics, the tempo that they have, that is almost on another level than everyone else. So playing the Suns might make you realize, oh, wait, we think we're doing them 100%, but now we realize how much more we got to get. So I'm going to kind of keep an eye on the Bulls and see how they respond to this game, because 27 points is a tough loss when you think you're a contender. But if they can come back, answer, and make their corrections and kind of come through this and see how they do. And again, ball is still not there. So yeah, I'm not going to say they're out, but I want to see how they're going to respond to this.
Yeah, definitely 100%, man. I think, if they get ball, Patrick Williams back, and they're fully manned, want to see how they play and what happens come playoff time.
Mm-hmm. Last I want to talk about was the Celtics heating up at the right time. Thought Mark might be on here. I figured he'd have a ball at that. Have you kept up with the Celtics any whatsoever?
Oh yeah, man. They're playing great basketball right now. I mean, number 1 defense in the NBA.
Yes.
Ime Udoka is my vote for coach of the year. I know Monty Williams, obviously, you could
I hope
put him
he
there.
gets it.
He probably will. I think it's between those 2 guys, in my opinion.
Because I feel like he's coach of the last 2 years, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, Ime Udoka has done a phenomenal job. I got to give Brad Stevens, who, kind of, you know yourself. You felt like, you're probably losing the voice of the players as a head coach. Mm-hmm. Took the role of being president of basketball operations, and now you give the reins to a guy like Ime Udoka, coming from Brooklyn, coming from the Spurs, that Popovich tree. Mm-hmm. And he's done a phenomenal job, man. He has those guys playing defense. Tatum is playing excellent since the All-Star break. Brown is starting to got it coming along as of late as well. Brought in Derek White from San Antonio, who again Udoka is very familiar with. So I think they're great. Robert Williams, guy, can crash the glass, get offensive rebounds, block shots, run the floor. He does a great job. Being that rim protector. Also, bring Al Horford back. Like we talked about, in the tournament, you need those veteran guys come playoff time. NBA too, NBA as well. NBA is extremely young, and you're bringing a guy like Horford. He knows the Celtic way. He's a very all-around player. He has the ability to pass the basketball off, getting the ball off the left-right block, making passes, throwing lobs to Robert Williams, making the right reads in the corner as well. Marcus Smart, similar to Beverly, could be a pest. I know he's caught some heat right now after what transpired when he made the play with Curry, and why Curry's sidelined for the rest of the season. But
I didn't think it was dirty at all. Did you?
Yeah, I thought it was just a bang bang play. I mean, but he has a reputation now. Prior to the play, so everything is going to be highlighted when he does something. So it's unfortunate. People say, why are you making that play in the second quarter? Things like that. So I mean, to me, it wasn't that when I saw it, it wasn't that big. It's just an unfortunate event. I mean, the same thing happened to LeBron also a few years ago with Solomon Hill. Solomon Hill dove for the ball. LeBron's leg got caught up. People were calling that a dirty play. So I just think when we see stars get hurt, and when we're not used to seeing them get hurt like that in certain weird ways, and it's also guys that maybe a majority of fans aren't really don't really like. It gets heightened. So
I mean, and I totally agree with you, but I'm just like Marcus Smart. The reason that he's on the team is because of hustling plays like that.
Right, 100%.
I just think it's dumb. And even if it was a dirty player, like even if it was LeBron James that got hurt, it doesn't look like he's diving towards Curry at all. It's like he's turning his body so he can get to the ball. Honestly, I think it's a lot of casual fans that don't really understand how you dive for a basketball because, I mean, we could go on about that for days, I'm sure. But keep going.
Yeah, exactly, and he's playing well. He's playing well also for the Celtics. So I mean, they're a scary team. They're a scary team. I think they went 7 games with Miami 2 years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals. Yes. So they have in the bubble. Yep. So they want to try to get to a championship as well. Tatum is hungry. I'm sure Jaylen Brown is hungry as well, and I think it's whoever they face in the first round. I think it's going to be a great series, and like I said, I mean they're really going to hone in on their defense, and I think they got a shot. I mean, I feel like it's about a 4-5 team race right now. You could say any one of those teams. You could say Miami, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Boston, and I mean it's a lot of ifs for this team, but if Brooklyn can get it, if Ben Simmons is good with the back, if Kyrie can play home games, but if those situations present itself with Brooklyn, they're dangerous. They're dangerous. We saw one or two guys. One guy they're dominant. Two guys they're still dominant, and we haven't even seen them with Ben yet. So who knows what type of what type of team that could be. So you got to throw them in the mix also. So Boston's done a great job, and if they are going to get far, it's going to be because of their defense.
This is just blowing my mind. It is comical to me. They've got on NBA.com right now, they've got like a picture of the playoff of the brackets where everything would be right now. Beginning of the year, everyone said who was going to be in the finals.
Oh, well, Lakers Nets, right?
Yes. Yeah. right now at this moment, the Lakers are the 10th seed in the West, and the Nets are the 8th seed in the East. So they're both in play-in games. And I just think, which I think that they'll be in the play-in games and win. You're going to have a Suns-Lakers first round. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Yeah, Suns-Lakers first round, which I think will be brutal. I mean, I don't care how bad the Lakers are when it comes to playoffs time. It's going to be a different team as long as AD is not Anthony Davis.
Right.
Let's see here. Play-in game. Okay, yes, because they're at 10th seed, so they can only be playing the one. Okay. And then you got the 76ers Nets first round, which would be interesting. That's
a great series. Philadelphia gets knocked out in the first round.
Oh.
If Brooklyn gets knocked out in the first round, people are going to talk about Kyrie, and if he would have played all the games, they wouldn't even be in that
because he can't play in the home games, right?
Right, as it stands right now, he can't play in the home game. So people are going to say, Brooklyn wouldn't have never been in this position had Kyrie, got the shot, and they'd have a higher seed. They wouldn't have saw Brooklyn to the second round. Philadelphia to the second round. So, and then on Philadelphia side, Harden folds in the playoffs. Doc Rivers, we just talked about, folds in the playoffs.
Listen, if Philly is 3-1, and somehow Brooklyn comes back and wins it, Doc is going to be fired and just blasted everywhere. Harden is going to be blasted, and he's going to be traded to somewhere because he can't stand to be there anymore. Ben is going to be the savior somehow he's going to come out and be like, we don't need Kyrie. I've got this. My back's fine. That would be hilarious. But we ain't going to jinx anything on that. Looks like Auburn is about to get upset. Miami and Iowa State looks like they're going to be – no, it is final now. So, yeah, number 11, Iowa State versus number 10, Miami, Florida on Friday in the Sweet 16. That's – no one's picked that. There's
no one's ever –
yeah, no one's picked that.
No one picked that, man.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
That would be crazy, I think, if we've got that Brooklyn and Philly. That's going to be the opening series that everyone talks about. Or everyone's in tune with, I think.
For sure, I'm definitely tuned in. I'm watching every game. I need to see it. I need to see every second.
Yeah,
Harden on Kyrie.
Time, so that's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I need to see every possession with Harden.
Wait. Did you say Harden's going to guard Kyrie?
Well, I mean, Kyrie was locking up Harden in that Thursday night game a couple of weeks ago. It looked like he took it personal. Yeah.
But do you think Harden would guard someone? Because, usually I see him playing the big. I don't know how a guard like that, but he plays no defense,
Yeah, but I mean, again, playoff time, I'm sure he's heard all the narratives already at this point. I mean, you can't run away from, as much as they say they don't listen to the internet and things like that or social media, bro, come on. Like, who are you kidding, bro? They've heard that. They've heard it all. So I know he knows, he's lived it. He's literally lived those playoff series. So,
and they're veterans too. They already probably systematically got everything sketched out. Okay, this is where we're looking at. That's fine. This is where we want to be. Maybe not that matchup, but they don't want to fall to the 9 and 10 spot and be playing Miami first round. We'd rather be playing the 2 seed than playing the 1 seed.
Yeah, but if Brooklyn goes into the playoffs healthy as the AC, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody. No one.
Technically, if they're healthy and they're the 8th seed, to me, they're the 2 seed.
Right? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
on that side there. Yeah.
Right.
They're going to be the 2 seed.
Exactly. That makes sense. Yep.
So let's just go through this right now. Of course, there's still a few more weeks left. 4 and 5 in the East would be Celtics versus the Bulls. How many games do you got winning? I'm going to go Celtics, and I'm going to say I'm going to say 6. I want to say 5, but I think it'll be 6.
That's a great series. That reminds me of the series back in 2009. It went 7. I don't know if you remember that one. It was extremely close. Derrick Rose rookie year. That's when they had Kurt Heinrich, Ben Gordon, Tyrese Thomas, young Joe Kim, and also that's when the Celtics they still had that big 3.
Did they have Butler then, or was that before him?
No, that was before. Yeah, that was before Butler got there. Yeah, I mean they still had some of those other. I think Vinny Del Negro was coaching back then. I don't think Thibodeau was the coach. Yeah, so that was one of the best first round series.
Did they have what was the power forward that they had for the Bulls? Big old white guy, big old beard that could shoot the 3.
Petrovic, no, he wasn't there yet. Nikola Petrovic, Spanish guy. Yeah. I remember. And he didn't get there until a couple years later.
Okay,
yeah, they had
I used to love the Bulls during that little time there, and I hated him. I loved it because I played the 2K with him, and he could light him up, and there'd be a mismatch because nobody could get out there on him. And I'm like, come on, man, you're on my fantasy team. I know how you can play. You can hit that, and then again, in the real life, he'd never make it.
Never. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was definitely a tease for sure. But yeah, that series, that first round series between the Bulls and the Celtics was a classic. And I think we can see one this year as well if they do match up. I'm gonna go Celtics in 7. Yeah, I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a great series back and forth. Again, I think Chicago will be fully manned by then. So we're really gonna get to see a great series. I got Boston.
3 and 6, the Bucks and the Cavs.
Yeah, I'm going Milwaukee. I'll go Milwaukee and I'm gonna say Milwaukee in 5, man. I'm gonna say Milwaukee in 5.
Veteran leadership.
Right. Yeah. There. Exactly. I think they have the bodies to match up with Mobley. I think Mobley and Allen versus Giannis and Brook Lopez, solid front court battle right there for sure.
This Cavs team, they're almost, and I mean this respectfully, they're almost too dumb to realize that they're not supposed to be good, if that makes sense. Like, we don't care. We know we're young and we're just going to come and win. Like, it's almost the college mentality. Like, hey, we're
Yeah.
coming in here. We're just going to win. Like,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and that's why I feel like they could get one game. I think they could get one game on Milwaukee, but I don't see them winning in 4. I think Drew Holiday, that's a tough
I love
matchup.
Drew.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for Garland. He's going to be on Garland the whole time, and that's going to be the Chris Middleton. I don't really think they have a wing like that can really hold him.
Mm-hmm.
And they play a lot of zone. They like to play a big 3-2 or 2-3 with those big guys with Laurie Markin in that lineup as well. Kevin Love is that veteran guy that I could kind of show them some things, but he's coming off the bench. It's a little different, but I'm gonna say I'll say Milwaukee in 5.
Okay, I'm with you on Milwaukee. I just don't know the games because again, I just feel like the Cavs don't care that they're not supposed to be good because they're proving everyone wrong. We've talked about do you think the Nets would, if we're going to say a lot of hypotheticals, so we won't go through the Nets and 76ers because they still have to beat the Raptors. So we'll just leave that one. Let's go Hornets and Hawks play-in game. And what do you think of the Miami, whoever they play to?
Hornets and the Hawks in a play-in game?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, let me back up a little bit just so everyone's clear because I guess I'm saying that wrong. The Hornets and Hawks have to play, and the winner plays the loser to the Raptors and
Brooklyn.
Nets game. Right. So technically, the Raptors could play either the Nets and the Heat, and the Nets could play the 76ers. Hypothetically. So do you think either one of those teams, as far as the Hornets or the Hawks, could make it to a play-in or a playoff spot, the 8th seed?
I could see the Hawks more than the Hornets because I think the Hornets, they have spurts where they don't play great defense. They turn the ball over way too much. They really need to work on that. To me, I think they really struggle with those two factors, and in the playoffs or play in, I mean, that's crucial. I mean, like we talked about, the game gets extremely tight. Possessions matter even more in the playoffs, let alone a play-in where it's not a series. It's really just 1 or 2 games, and you could potentially be eliminated. So, to me, they're not as disciplined. Atlanta has kind of struggled throughout the season. They had some highs and they had some lows, but I think Trae Young, John Collins should be back from his injury. Mm-hmm. I think they could potentially get a win over there. But it would be great to see LaMelo in the playoffs. In his second year, that would be very exciting to see. But I just don't know if how inconsistent they are in certain aspects. I think they're going to struggle.
I think the Hornets could win 1 game. I don't think they can win 2 to get into a playoff matchup. Like, I can see them beating the Hawks in 1 game, but then I don't see them beating the Nets in 1 or the Raptors in 1.
Right.
So, okay, let's move over to the West, and we're over an hour, so we'll kind of be quick with this. Jazz and Mavs, 4 and 5 seed. I'm going to go with the Mavs because the Jazz last year early exit, and the Mavs are hot right now. I think losing Porzingis actually did them good. Getting Levert, I think it was. Dinwiddie. I'm sorry. Right. They were teammates at the time. Right, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, especially when they played his ex-team and he hit the game winner. Love that.
Yeah, big shot. That was a big shot.
I just think I think the Jazz are going to choke in the playoffs, and we know how to go against Gobert when it comes to playoff time, kind of put him in an island a little bit and see if that happens again when it's playoff time. So I'm going to go Mavs in, I'm going to say 5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go Dallas in 6. Yeah. 6. Everything you pretty much said about Utah, I completely agree with. They're a great regular season team. To me, they just don't have that second wing guy next to Donovan Mitchell just to bring it home for them and close some series out. I think Gobert is playing excellent basketball right now, but I don't see him as a second option on a championship team. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why they struggle. But I think it's going to be a grind for them. I think Dallas did a great job. Got to give credit to Mark Cuban. Also, general manager, I'm blanking on his president. I'm blanking on his name right now, but getting Spencer Dinwiddie in there, It's a big deal. It's a big deal, and I think he's done a great job for them. Jalen Brunson as well. We got something in the color cast. You're number 2 in listeners right now. Good stuff, guys.
Spencer is beating us, but he's great at it. We definitely appreciate that. I thank you for letting us know on that. Makes me feel
August, appreciate that, man. Thanks a lot, brother. Thank you.
Wow, that's crazy. Give me a quick follow here.
Yes, sir.
I want to get as many people as I can to follow because we're still kind of new to this app. I'm learning it. I didn't know there was a Discord till the other day. JJB that's in here quite a bit with us in our baseball. He was talking about the Discord. I said, "Whoa, hold up, what's the Discord?" So I've got the invite in there, and kind of you can learn a little bit more what's going on with that. So I was like, okay, that's awesome. But yeah, I just personally I feel like the Mavs. I won't say this is their year, but this is their year to go deep. I'll say that. Like I just feel like with Jason Kidd, what he's been doing with them, and this fire they've going on right now, I'm in love with this team to make somewhat of a run. And when I say somewhat of a run, it'll probably be second round. Okay,
yeah, definitely like to see Luka get past the first round for sure.
Yes. 3 and 6, we got Golden State and the Nuggets. I hate to be this guy, but I'm going to say the Warriors in 4.
Wow. Okay.
And let me back
I can see that.
Because we don't know how fresh, or I don't know how fresh right now Murray's going to be coming whenever he does come back, because they said it's probably going to be right at playoff time, or it could be a week before or so. So super rusty. I mean, he leaves it all on the line when he does play. So I think that would be good if he can get into this game or get into a couple weeks beforehand. And Michael Porter Jr. back problem. He missed like a whole year in college, I think it was, been missing a few games in the NBA. It's a major problem. And he was coming in to be the third man on that team last year. So I just think it's going to be too much when it comes to playoff. I mean, that's when the Warriors shine. Let's just be honest. There's experience there, and I just think the Warriors are not going to be messing around. Thompson's going to be happy to be back finally in uniform during a playoff game, and I think he's going to have at least one solid night where he's going over maybe 40 to almost 50 points one game. Bam! There. That's my receipt on that one.
No, it's very, very possible. I think they played last week on a TNT game. It was a great game. Went back and forth. I think they did a great job, and I'm gonna go with Golden State as well. I'm gonna go with Golden State in 5. If those guys aren't back, I'm gonna say Golden State in 5. If they are back, I'll take Golden State in 6. I think they're talented. But we've seen some crazy things too. But I just don't think it's going to be tough for them to ask those guys to play 40 minutes in the playoffs.
Not playing.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough ask for sure. I mean, I know they're supreme athletes, but it's going to be difficult. And I think Golden State got the edge in that one.
Mm-hmm. I will say this. August said, "What are you thinking about my Lakers? Are we going to make a play-in spot, or are we too old and slow?" I don't like LeBron James if you're new to ever listening to us, but I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He's going to find a way to get into the playoffs, at least the playoff spot. I do think that they're going to win the first round. I don't care what you got. If it's a one-game playoff, I'm going to bet my money on LeBron. So as of right now, they are the 10 spot against the Pelicans, so they'd actually have to win 2 games to get into the actual series game. So I definitely think they'll beat the Pelicans just because I would bet on LeBron no matter what. How far are we? We're going with them. Right now, it would be – I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. Here's my predicament, or I'm going to at least throw out these scenarios. And CJ, you let me know what you think. I'm going to say they'll beat the Pelicans if that's the matchup as it ends now. But if the Timberwolves beat the Clippers in the 7-8, and then they play the Grizzly and the Clippers and Lakers play, I'm going to give the edge to the Clippers to be the 8th spot. But if the Clippers beat Timberwolves and they're the 7th seed, and then the Timberwolves are going to be playing for the 8th seed against Lakers, if you're following me on all that, I'm going to say the Lakers will win that game. So I'm going to say it's going to be a little bit of who they play on this. Just for the fact, I mean, I know we talked about this earlier with Ant, what all he's been doing right now. I still think LeBron James, when it comes to that playoff time, he's put a lot of people way much lower down on that size than they act like they want to be. So I just think I think AD can take Towns if healthy. I think his mobility when he's not in street clothes is better. I do think Karl Anthony Towns has a better shot. I just love to watch Kentucky players play. Let's just be honest. And then LeBron is just going to average a triple-double with probably 30 points. So that's what I'm going to say. If the Lakers play the Clippers for a play-in to the series, I think they lose to the Clippers. I just feel like the veterans on both sides there are going to clash on that. What about you?
Yeah, my thoughts on the Lakers overall is definitely a disappointing season. To me, Westbrook was a bad fit because they even last year they didn't have the type of spacing, to really succeed and win a championship. And then you add a guy who's not a great floor spacer, just adds more problems. And he's a point guard, and he likes to slash to the basket, but he's not a great free throw shooter. So it's like a complete double negative from that standpoint. And
is he not like a 3? Like, I don't know why he ever became a 1. And I'm not taking anything because I badmouth Westbrook. But, like, in my time, which I'm 36 years old, like, it wasn't more of a 3-point shooting person as your wings. It was like, okay, kick it to your 3, your small forward, let him drive to try to penetrate and get to the line. But it's like Westbrook's like, okay, I'm just too short to be a 3, so I'm just going to be the 1 and do that role.
Yeah, that's really that's really what it is. Yeah, he's just he's a little bit too short to be a small forward. So you put him at that point guard. He still has the speed and other measurables to be a point guard. But in terms of floor spacing, it hasn't been great over the last few seasons. And I think right now, it's still. I think when we think about the Lakers, I think we think about if LeBron, AD healthy. It's tough. It's tough to definitively say they're going to get beat 4 times because we saw last year they got hurt and they got beat 4 times. So it wasn't like they were fully manned and they lost that series with both of those guys healthy. So people still throw that out there, which I respect because again they're really dominant. But AD hasn't looked great as over the last 2 seasons and he hasn't been healthy either. So I don't know. I think they will make the playoffs. I don't think they want to see Phoenix in the first round. If they somehow get the 7th seed and see Memphis, that's probably a better matchup for them. But
I think Memphis will run circles around them though, where they're so young and just that's what the Suns do too though.
But the game slows down.
It does. It's a half-court offense,
right? And that'll probably favor an older type team like the Lakers. So that's probably why I give them a shot.
Yeah, that'll hurt a team like Memphis.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Yeah, so I probably favor them over Memphis, but yeah, it's been a wild ride for your Lakers, August, man. If AD could get healthy and then play like that guy he played in the bubble, it changes everything. But as of what we've seen over the last few seasons, it hasn't been great.
AD needs to get in those, like, what do they call them, the ice machines or whatever, like helps your body that Floyd gets into all the time.
Hyperbody, ice. I know.
You just need to stand there. Or do you ever watch Little Giants? I know you're not that much younger than me. The movie.
Yeah, I've seen it.
The little kid that comes to the football practice wrapped in all the bed, like, I don't know, pads and all that stuff, the mattresses. Like, that's how he needs to play. Like, just come on. Just put on the knee pads, the elbow pads. I mean, just wear both ankle braces. I don't care if they're good or bad. Just wear them. Put on a helmet, man. We need you out there. Because, I mean, truthfully, not that I'm always dogging on LeBron, but AD came over to take some of this pressure off of LeBron, to take some of the – it was almost, to me, a passing of the torch to Anthony Davis.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
You're right.
And Anthony's not been there. So, I mean – and he's totally capable. So, when healthy – and I know Corey may completely dog me on this, but I think Anthony Davis is better than Giannis when he's healthy.
I used to think that. I really did. Like 2 years ago, I used to be like, I was right there with you. But
Giannis is – Anthony Davis, you can't really say Anthony Davis is good because he's not playing. I mean, it's kind of like Zion. We're just going on what we think. Until we see them play, we can't really say they're up there, which I can't stand. And this is way off topic there. That's why I can't stand all-star votes. Like, people who haven't even played will make the all-star. That makes no sense. But anyways, off of that rant. So, yeah, let's see. Hey, boys, good stuff. We'll check you out next show. Got to bounce. I appreciate it, August. Anytime, man, hop on here with us sometime. Yeah, we appreciate it. But let's see here. Did we go through all the playoffs? Yes, we did, because we don't really know who's going to go in. Do you think whoever the Suns play, it doesn't matter, they win first round?
Or do you think? I believe so. Yes, okay. I do think if they see the Lakers healthy, it will be a struggle. Because again, those guys are excellent. But I do think they have the better team than the Lakers. The Lakers may have the better players, but I think the Suns have the better team. So they will come out victorious in that series.
I know this is going to be crazy even saying, like, I think if the Lakers don't go 4-0 against them, there's no way they can beat them. Like, the longer that series goes, the worse it's going to be for the Lakers, because they are old. We know that. Yeah. And I'm not trying to just keep on that, but like, the Suns are so young, other than Chris Paul, who is still like drinking the fountain of youth here, except for his thumb broke or hand broke, whatever it is. They all just run, you know. They're all just so fast and they're up the court. And I just feel like after a few minutes, even in their half-court sets, they're still running around their plays, their sets and everything. And I just think I think the Lakers are just going to struggle and be trailing like crazy. But I'm glad Monk has had a pretty good season this year. Another Kentucky boy that I got to cheer on.
Yes, sir. He's had a really good season, yes. He's definitely going to get paid this offseason.
Yes. And the number 2 Grizzlies, do you think anyone can beat them in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like if the Lakers get that 7th spot, I would lean towards the Lakers in a really close series. But yeah, other than that, I don't see any of those other teams. I mean, Clippers, if they somehow get Paul George, that changes some things. So obviously, Paul George should come back, and they go up against a second team in Memphis. But yeah, I mean, they're just like Phoenix. They like to run. They like to go out and run and make plays. So it's going to be tough to stop them for sure.
Well, it is coming up on 11 o'clock my time. You're East Coast too, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, let's see here. Sorry, reading a Bleacher Report about college going on here. I think that really wraps it up. CJ, you want to give a shout out to everything you got going on right now? All your podcasts and everything?
Yeah, the Garter podcast, all things NBA. Every Tuesday, Anthony Conover and I do the Hard Count every Tuesday at 9 p.m. covering all things NFL. And yeah, man, just keep. You could also check me out on Colorcast as well at CJamesUSN, and also on Twitter for the viewers watching on the stream, and then for listeners, it's at CJames9_.
Awesome. And you can find me MD Lawson00 pretty much on any kind of social media platform with the Colorcast. Same thing, just USN at the end. If you can't remember that, the Unwrapped Sports Network, you type in USN on the Colorcast. We all have it at the end of our name, so it should pull up everyone that's associated with the Unwrapped Sports Network. We love the family, love the network. If you ever got any questions about wanting to even possibly join up with us, let us know. Send us a DM or anything like that on Twitter, and we'll try to talk with you. Perry, who's in here quite a few times, he's actually the godfather of the Unwrapped Sports Network, so we can get you in the right direction there. Check us out on Twitter with Count Bucket USN, not Count the Bucket, but Count Bucket USN. And in my Twitter bio, all my social media bios, you can find my link tree. It has all that good stuff. But Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time is my other show with Connie as well, or Anthony Conover, where we do backstop banter, everything baseball as well with that. So, guys, appreciate it. CJ, again, thank you. Anytime, of course. I'm just going to go ahead and say you're a co-host. I always say unofficial. You're a co-host, like you're not, okay? So, let's see here. Let me get everything pulled up so we can get this all closed out. Guys, until we see you all next time, y'all have a good one. Thank you so much.
Guys, have a good one, man.